Our guest tonight is a very funny comedian. Please welcome to Wicked Late the very talented Mike Murray. Mike, how are you, sir?
Very good. Thank you.
But talk to us about then as a youngster now, what I find fascinating about you, and I mentioned this earlier in the show, is you were born, were you hearing impaired from the moment you were born? Is that what I read correctly?
That's correct. I gradually lost my hearing over time. It got worse and worse until I eventually lost it all.
Now, about what age did it start to go on you?
At birth, and then just gradually, little by little. I had useless hearing. That's what I call it, useless hearing.
Useless hearing.
Yeah, it was just. It really
I bet you wish
help.
you had it now.
Yeah.
Well, it's fascinating to me, and I believe you said only 6 short years ago you had these implants put in that allow you to be able to hear for the first time in your life.
That's correct, It's about 6 years ago. The only way you could communicate with me was pen and paper, and me lip reading.
I was going to say you were able to read lips.
I was able to read lips, and it was at that point I was pretty much deaf. And then I had the implants done, cochlear implants done in both ears.
Now, was this a surgical procedure? I mean,
yes,
did you stay away? They didn't have it done in a guy's garage or something, but now they.
Well, actually, Radio Shack.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know they were doing that now. It's quite a service they're performing over there.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, when you came out of the surgery, you literally were able to hear people for the first time ever.
A month later. It took time to heal because it was a surgery where they implanted an electrode in my cochlea, bypassing the eardrum and bones, and that's stimulated by electricity, sending a message to my brain. And but a month after surgery, they turned the machine on, and I walked out of that office hearing.
Oh my goodness, and I believe you told me a few things you learned now after this surgery. Once you had hearing, there were a few things that you picked up on right away, which were...
Right off the bat, I realized that farts make noise.
That's right. Okay. And what a cool revelation that must have been.
Yeah, that was, and no wonder why nobody would get in the elevator anymore with me.
Well, to me, I mean, you really are. I mean, is this a common procedure? Are people having this done regularly? I mean, it really seems like it is sort of a miracle for people who can't hear. I mean, it's a whole new world opened up for you.
Absolutely, and up until about maybe 6 years ago, it wasn't that common. It was strict criteria for the procedure. Right now, there's probably about 75,000 to 100,000 people in the world that have one cochlear implant.
Wow.
I have 2 cochlear implants, one in each ear.
Right.
Bilateral, I like to say surround sound.
Yeah.
And there's only about maybe 1,000 people in the world that have 2 cochlear implants.
Wow, and you're one of them.
I was actually the first person in the state of Rhode Island to have 2.
Wow. Very, very cool. Now, how did the transition to comedy occur? Was that obviously it must have been after the surgery? I mean, it'd be pretty tough to get up there and, I don't know. You never signed though, right? Isn't that correct? You never learned sign language as a youngster, as a young man?
I never had any. I never had to go to any school for the deaf. I went to public schools. I got by with what I had. It was very difficult.
Did they ever think you were faking it?
Actually, I didn't even know. Actually, I didn't even know I was deaf. I just thought it was real quiet.
Yeah. Why aren't these people talking? So then shortly, I mean, after this, you said, I believe I read that you got into comedy by accident. You were signed up for some type of comedy boot camp. Is this correct?
It's correct. Actually, a friend of mine, we were going back and forth at a party, and we were just telling jokes and funny stories. And it was one of those arguments, so you think you're funny, like, Joe Pesci type thing. And he's takes out his cell phone, and he calls Frank O'Donnell, who happens to run a comedy boot camp. And he signed me up.
Right.
Actually, I had no plans on doing it. And then I went to the boot camp. And what happens with the boot camp is it's an 8-week course. Once a week, you sit down with a bunch of comic wannabes. And in my class, there was 10 of us, which was really good because you get criteria from each one of them. But your graduation is done in front of a live audience, and that was held at Twin River at Catch a Rising Star. And there was about 200 people in that audience that night.
Wow.
And I did a 15-minute set pretty much.
Wow.
My first set on stage, and since that day, the phone started ringing, you want to do a set, and then just took a life of its own.
Things have progressed for you, locally on the comedy scene. I believe you told me you host a regular gig at the LOL Comedy Lounge. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's a showcase of other comedians. What can you tell us about that?
It's called the Mike Murray Comedy Showcase. It's at the brand new club, LOL Comedy Lounge, which is located in the newly renovated Park Cinema on Park Ave in Cranston.
Certainly.
What a job they did right there. And it's 10 comics, 10 minutes apiece for $10. So it's like 10, 10, 10.
Very nice.
And I host the show, so that means I go on in between each comic.
And I think the key to good stand-up comedy is certainly originality, but you've really got to find your niche. And I would think that with this whole deal, that's your
my
angle.
Hook.
Yeah.
That is my hook.
Can I try those on?
If you want, they don't work on you though. That's it.
Now, where can people catch you for the most part? You mentioned the LOL Comedy Lounge, but where can people learn more about you and where they can see you? I mean, what do folks need to know to follow you or to catch your act one night?
Okay. I also have my own show at it's called the Mike Murray Show at Catch a Rising Star at Twin River Casino.
All right.
And that's a once a month thing.
Am I invited?
No.
I didn't think so.
We just have funny people on the show.
But the guest is zinging the host. That's what I like.
But what I try to direct people to is my Facebook,
Okay.
which I'm under Michael Murray. You have to go through about 150 Chad Michael Murrays to find me, and that's an easy find. Though.
Very, very nice.
And I do all my promoting for my stuff on there, and it's a great networking tool.
It seems to me like, we're having you here and whatnot. We've had a couple of local comedians on the show. It seems like there really is quite a growing population of comedians here in our state, something that I never really thought existed, prior to having you guys on the show. But it really seems like there are quite a few of you out there, doing your thing. And it's really great for our state, and it must be gratifying for all of you to have that platform to do this.
Absolutely. And I had no idea how many comics were out there. And I entered 2 contests right off the bat in my first 4 months of comedy. And one was the Catch a New Rising Star, and one was the Rhode Island Comedy Festival. And each contest had 120 comics competing.
Wow.
Which just blew my mind. I had no idea. I placed second in the Rhode Island Comedy Festival.
Very, very nice.
And third in the Catch a New Rising Star contest.
That's pretty good for a relatively new guy on the scene.
And it was pretty humbling too. I mean, I'm kind of an older comic. Most of the comics are in the mid-20s, early 30s, and 46. Married, 3 kids.
Very nice.
So when I go to a club, it's a big difference, you know. And I think I have my life stories, my whole life experience backing me up.
One of my favorite jokes is, and I'm sure you can give us just the brief synopsis here, is the fight between the deaf and the blind people. Just give us a little bit of that right now.
Okay, I talk about how everybody's got a little bigot in them. And
bigot?
A bigot.
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 Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm the deaf guy.
All right.
You should have got that in the first one. Bigot.
Right, bigot.
Is that what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah, you're saying it correctly. I'm just establishing the joke. Ruining it, in other words.
Everybody's got a little bigot.
Okay,
A
all
little
right.
prejudice. And we're no different, the deaf. For example, we hate the blind. We hate the blind.
Yeah.
Because they're always crying.
Yeah.
I can't see, I can't see.
Yeah, it's enough already.
Yeah. And they're always busting us up about, can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? It's just stupid. And what's the deal with the sunglasses?
It's too
You don't
much.
see the
It's
deaf
too
walking
much.
around wearing earmuffs.
No, you don't. That's a hell of a good point.
So a few years back, tensions were rising among our groups, and we decided to settle it with a brawl. So our respective gangs got together. Over here, you had the deaf gang. We call ourselves the Lords of Silence.
Lords of Silence. Okay.
Catchy, huh?
Yeah.
And over here, you had the blind gang.
Uh-huh.
They call themselves, what else?
NBA referees? No, I'm kidding.
The Dark Knights.
The Dark Knights.
And we knew we were going to mess them up because they never see the punches coming.
Sure.
But what happened was they kicked our butts. They kicked our butts. If we only figured in the German Shepherds.
Ah, the damn seeing eye dogs. The first time I saw you, I thought that was just a terrific joke. That's one of my favorites as part of your routine. But Mike, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
It's been just great getting to know you a little bit, and you truly are, an inspiration to a lot of folks out there. You know, I mean, this is a
Absolutely.
big deal. It's pretty cool that you can hear after all those years and that you're following your passion or your dream. So that's just tremendous. And thank you for sharing your story with us. And we wish you nothing but continued success out there on the comedy circuit here in the Ocean State. And we look forward to seeing you live.
Thank you very much, Brendan.
Mike Murray, everybody, local comedian extraordinaire.